Imagine being able to turn your side gig into a national business.
Well, today we're going to show you how to do exactly that.
We sat down with the owner of Puffling Play, formerly known as Virginia Soft Play, and asked Danielle Dowdy how she was able to get her small business into a business that is now offering services to all 50 states. Hi, I'm Tina Tran, and I am the communications manager of the Rental Boys.
My name is Alex. I'm an executive assistant here at the Rental Boys, and today we're going to give you 4 major takeaways from someone who grew their business from the ground up so you can do the same.
Now, the first lesson that we learned from Danielle is that you could start small, but think big. One of the most powerful takeaways that we had gotten from Danny is that you do not need to launch your business with everything figured out. And what I mean is you don't need to have the best selection of inventory. You don't need to have the best team out there, because all of this is a learning process.
Yeah, she started Puffling Play as a side gig. It's just something that kind of was small that she could work into her life because she is a mom of 4, which is crazy. But yeah, it wasn't until it kind of slowly started building momentum that she saw it, that it could be something bigger. But I will say, like, the biggest difference I see when I'm talking to people who are reaching out because they want to start like Xavier and Eddie did, I do notice the difference between people who, even though they are small and they don't have everything yet, you can tell when they have that vision in mind. You can tell when they want it to be something bigger. So yeah, I thought that was an amazing takeaway too.
My name's Danny. I am the founder and CEO of Puffling Play. We started in Central Virginia, and we, when I started this, it was just a little side gig. I was gonna just do some rentals on the side, and it turned into something a lot bigger and started snowballing. And now we're working on a national expansion. I'm a mom of 4 kids when I'm not being a business owner and CEO, but yeah, I live in Virginia, and I'm loving being a business owner.
How did you first get into the event rental business?
Yeah, I kind of stumbled into it. I didn't intend to, but I was looking on Facebook Marketplace for some ideas for a friend's first birthday party for her son. And I saw these soft play rentals, and I had heard the term soft play before, but I had heard it in the United Kingdom, like England, Ireland. They say soft play to mean like a McDonald's play place. That's what they call soft play. So I had heard it. I was like, what is this? So I looked it up, and we did not have any soft play rentals in our area. So I brought it to our area and just started from there. But I didn't really even know or consider the fact that being a soft play rental business owner put me in the same industry as other party rentals. It felt very isolated at first as I was building it, but it's really cool to be a part of the greater rental industry.
However, there was one thing that she had told us that she wished she had done differently, and that was starting her business with expansion in mind. Now, there are 2 different things that had happened here, okay? First is her inventory. She had purchased very specialized inventory that didn't necessarily scale well. What that meant was that her inventory was so specific in detail that it was a little bit more difficult to replicate this type of setup in every single event. So something that she had to think about was, how can I change my inventory so that the same setup could be done in almost every single event without me having to be there and doing it myself? Now, the second thing was that Danielle's branding was specifically towards Virginia, and you could kind of hear it in her name, right? Virginia Soft Play. However, whenever you are a national brand or you are growing nationally, having that specific state name could really limit who you're able to target, especially if they think that you're only supplying for that specific region. So Danielle really had to go through an entire branding change in order to get herself from servicing the Virginia area only to all the surrounding states and more.
Yeah, I wish I had had the notion that it might be bigger than what I was thinking. I wish I had, so when I first bought my inventory, it was very specialized. So I had a camping set and a princess set. It was very theme oriented. So then when I went to expand, I had to make it something that I could replicate over and over again. So I had to kind of figure out what's the core of my inventory that I want to have at every location. So I wish I had had the forethought to do that from the beginning instead of kind of figuring it out along the way. So that's something I always say, if I could start over, I would have have that idea, just what can I do to simplify things so that if I do end up expanding, it'll be a lot easier. So that was definitely something that I wish I had done differently.
What made you go from Virginia soft play to Puffling play, considering that you had already established like a brand for yourself?
Yeah, that was terrifying to do. We had, in the beginning, I started as Central Virginia Soft Play Rentals. So I transitioned from Central Virginia Soft Play Rentals to just Virginia Soft Play Rentals pretty easily. Just dropped the Central and kept my same logo. My logo was just right off of Canva. I picked my own business colors, just very, very amateur when I started because I just didn't know what I was getting into. When I started getting bigger and started being in Maryland and DC, I got a lot of phone calls and emails of people just asking, are you in my area? And we listed it on our website that we were in DC and Maryland as well, but it's confusing because we were Virginia Soft Play Rentals. So considering that and considering my ambition to be a national brand, I took the plunge. I hired a PR company and a branding agency. They came up with the Puffling Play name, which I just fell in love with immediately. I love Iceland, and Iceland has the largest population of puffins. And I just love the idea of a bird and a nest and being kept safe. And it just really matched the aesthetic and the goal of our company, keeping kids safe while they played. So yeah, it was really scary though to take the leap and to have to, start kind of all over with my domain name. And we have a pop-up still on our website so that when people visit the website, it says, hey, we're going from Virginia Soft Play to Puffling Play. That way, if they do see Virginia Soft Play, they might think, oh, that's Puffling Play now, or like past clients haven't had an issue rehiring us again with the new name, but we did see a dip obviously in website views just from transitioning that domain name over. We had to build a little bit more. We started a new brand account with Google Ads, so a new ad account. So building all that back up again has definitely been a little bit of a bump, but I'm really glad I did. It was really overwhelming the beginning of the year to take that plunge and to complete the cutover, but it was great, and we're operating now fully as Puffling Play, and it feels like we're finally like really deep into it instead of like that transition time.
Now, the lesson here is that it is okay to start small, but just don't let it limit your long-term vision. You need to approach your early decisions with the belief that your business might take off, and that means making choices that leaves room for growth.
So I actually have an article here from Forbes. It's How to Start a Business 2025 Guide, and it is just everything that you need for thinking about starting your business, but starting a business with growth in mind. So you can go through this, and I think we can have it in the description below, of just everything you need, like thinking about a research plan, considering your team, selecting ownership structure. It's everything you'd need for what we just said. Starting a business and starting out small, but starting with growth in mind.
The second lesson is growing a team that you could trust. As much as building your own business is a solo journey at the very beginning, growth means that you have to rely on others.
Danny's first big realization of this actually came with her very first event, which is crazy. She told us about how she was actually out of town for it, and she had to rely completely on her brother. So the client wasn't able to really look to her. She was having to rely on someone else. That moment made it so real for her because the clients were relying on her business and not just her alone.
The first one that we had, I actually was out of town that weekend and had to depend on my brother. And my brother set up our first ever party, and I was so proud of him. It looked really great. But it was just kind of like, it was crazy being a business owner and like feeling it become real and having that moment of, wow, we're really doing this and clients are really depending on us. And the clients were so sweet and they reached out and just loved the whole thing.
And this is something that you're going to face in your business, right? You are not going to be able to always be there for every single delivery, for every single pickup, especially as your business gets bigger. As Eddie and Xavier are not the ones that are personally out on site anymore. They're not the ones personally out doing deliveries anymore. Now, Eddie definitely does step in since he is the operations chief. So he'll definitely step in, he'll definitely do much of the larger setups, but this is not something that they're overlooking day to day, and you won't either at some point. Now, something that Danny had talked to us about was that even though she trusts or loves her team, sometimes it is hard for her to let go of her own vision and trust for them to be able to do the entire setup, with her own vision in mind. And as someone who is a perfectionist or someone who likes everything done a very particular way, it can be very hard to kind of let go of your team members' hands and trust that they could do everything with the quality and with the expectations that you would usually do things with. And that's just something that you're going to have to learn over time, especially whenever you are hiring individuals. You need to make sure that you're hiring someone who has the same vision as you, the same goals as you. Maybe they are more detail-oriented. A lot of these qualities that, maybe sometimes you overlook in individuals, it is going to be very important and very critical, especially if they are going to be someone who is doing the setup themselves and who is going to be communicating with clients, especially if you have a very specific vision for every single setup that you're doing.
Having to fully trust your team and giving that trust is really hard sometimes because I have a vision of how I want things to go. My executive team as a whole has a vision for how we want things to go. And we have to really lean into our training and really lean into trusting these team members and hoping that they also have that vision. But that is the most stressful part for sure, is Saturday morning when these parties are being set up, or sitting by our phones saying, I hope that everything's okay. And it usually is really great and fine. We rarely have issues, but relying and letting go of the control, because I was very easily able to control it when it was just me doing it every other weekend in my town. But it's a lot more when you have to let go of it and really trust your team.
And let's not forget, as much as hiring the right person matters, it also heavily depends on your training and how well you're able to replicate the same processes with every single one of your employees that are coming in. Because if you are not able to do full replications with each individual employee, that means that your processes may not have been built up there.
I found several articles actually that were, in Forbes, or this one in entrepreneur.com, that state that the number one step in building a great team is starting with a very clear mission statement. And I took away from the interview, Danny had that. She knew her mission statement. She knew exactly what her goal with the business was. And I think that really helps in just building a good foundation for what your business stands for and for having a great team to stand upon that foundation. I'm actually doing research now for a future video just about hiring and team building, and a major factor I'm finding is just that having that clear mission statement first and what your business stands for. So for her, it was, we want to allow for children's parties to have safe play, something that they can safely have fun with. Just having that and knowing that, it is just so crucial in making sure you're able to find the right people for your team that you can trust.
Now, the third lesson on this list is don't be afraid to ask for help. One of the most underrated tools in starting your own business is simply asking questions, especially to those who have already been in business longer than you and know exactly what to do in your situation.
Danny actually said that she credits a lot of her growth to just her openness and willingness to being able to ask people who knew more than her. Whether that's just from branding to business strategy or even the nitty-gritty about taxes. She just felt that being open to asking people who knew more than her really is what helped her. She didn't try to just figure it out on her own.
Like Alex said, she wasn't afraid to talk to industry professionals in order to gain perspective. And she even mentioned that she had a lot of great conversations with Xavier in order to help her grow her business.
Relying on other people with more experience is really important. I've loved my conversations with Xavier and just being able to, pick the brains of people who have been there before me, who've been there for a lot longer than I have. I've had the opportunity to talk to a lot of different people in different industries that have more business experience than I do. And that has been just so valuable to have those people that I can rely on when I have a question, whether it's a little question about, classifying employees, or if it's a bigger question of what my goals are and if I'm shooting too far or not far enough and that kind of stuff. So I love the fact that I'm able to do that. And that's something that I really value.
Now, if you would like some resources to help you grow your business, please check out our link below for our free ultimate checklist. This is a free ebook written by Eddie and Xavier themselves to help business owners like you guys start, grow, and expand your business. So let us help you just like we helped Danny.
As a business owner, you don't need to have all the answers. You really just need to know who to ask. That kind of openness can be so huge. Having a network of experienced people around you can make all the difference in your business, just like it did for Danny's.
Now, the fourth and last lesson on this list is to believe in yourself and have the bigger picture in mind. Now, starting a business can cause a lot of self-doubt, especially if things are going slow or things just aren't going as planned.
But Danny's advice to anyone looking to start is really clear, and it's just trust yourself. Believe in your potential and don't get caught up in the day-to-day setbacks. She talked about the importance of being able to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and how huge that was and how much of a help it was in being able to push her through some of the tough parts.
You need to think about how far you've come and where you could potentially go. And having that mindset shift could really change the trajectory of your business, as the fuel that you need and the confidence that you need will all be in your mind, right? Your mind is a prison, so let's not let it hold you back.
Trusting yourself, I think really believing in yourself. It's hard sometimes to believe in yourself. And I know sometimes the people around me believe in me more than I do sometimes, just because I start to question if I should be doing this or why am I doing this, but just remembering that I built this and remembering that it's been a passion of mine to build this and grow this on my own and with the help of my team. But really, like, it's my goals at the center of this a lot of the time, and trusting myself and not letting that imposter syndrome get to you. Yeah, it's taking a step back and really looking at what you've done and what you've built, I think, is so important every now and then, and kind of taking that outside look at what you've built, because sometimes you're in the middle of it and it's so hard to even see the things that you've accomplished because you're just in the grind and in the nitty-gritty of it every day. So taking that step back and really recognizing your accomplishments and pushing forward and getting inspiration from that.
If there's anything else you would like to share about Puffling Play, please do so before we end this call.
Yeah, we're so excited for our national expansion. We have a form on our website if anybody wants to bring this to their town, whether they want to bring it as a client and they want to hire us someday when we're in their area, or if they would like to have the opportunity to be a Puffling partner and expand Puffling Play into their area. We have information on our website on how to do that. But yeah, we have loved the opportunity to grow, and we're excited for this next step.
Danny's story is proof that you do not need the perfect plan to start. You just need to start.
Whether it's trusting your team, asking for help, or thinking big from the beginning, her story shows that success comes from staying committed and open.
And if you're wondering how to get started, please check out the ultimate checklist down below. It's a free checklist and it will have everything you need to start your own business.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you check out this video here.